Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. I have the most profound, probably the most impactful video for you that you need to watch right now. Stick through this. And I'm not kidding. This is very, very important because when we talk about prepping, the number one thing that preppers think about doing is stockpiling. And honestly, there's a lot of videos we put out how to stockpile, and that is something that very well could save your life. Stockpiling food, stockpiling water, stockpiling goods, etc. is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But when preppers think that that's all they need to do is stockpile food and make sure I have all the corned beef hash I could ever have, you are more than likely going to die. You have to understand that it is not just about stockpiling. And it's not even simply just about training and drills too, even though I talk about this as well. It is all about adaptability. Let me show you a couple of websites I found first, then I'm going to go into far more detail of understanding what you need to do to be able to survive what's coming. So first off, this is a website called The Organic Prepper, the official blog of the apocalypse. Hey, how come they became the official representative of the apocalypse? I want that role. Forget survival of the strongest, the meanest, the fastest, the toughest, the fittest, or the smartest. And well said, Organic Prepper. All of these are fine qualities of being a prepper, but there is one key to survival in nearly any situation that trumps all the others. Adaptability. The ability to change to fit changed circumstances. Wow, absolutely right. And if you have a set way you want to do things, I get that, and that's actually smart. But you have to be adaptable because you have no idea what's coming. Neither one of us do, by the way, and we have to be able to adapt and change our plans at a moment's notice to survive. And I like this website. It goes into a couple scenarios just to kind of like rattle your mind to think about things. You're out for a day hike with your family when a storm blows up. This is not something you can control. You can only respond to it. You immediately accept that the storm is happening, and you are not supplied for the situation. You must look to your surroundings to create a shelter from the elements and possibly find drinking water and food. A very simple scenario. Let's jump into the next one. This is realistic, by the way. Your home is well stocked for any event, except suddenly your home is in the path of a raging wildfire. You can't cling to the fact that your preps are in your home. Your survival reality has changed instantly, and now you must evacuate your family and find a new way to be fed and sheltered. Oh, wow. This has come straight out of videos. I've talked about this. Even this example. We prep, we stockpile, we have stuff in the house. I'll never tell how much we have, and you shouldn't either. And suddenly now a wildfire comes. Are you going to be able to load up everything in your giant semi-truck and leave quickly? Of course not. So you have to have contingency plans of bugging out. I have people on the time channel say, I'll never bug out of my house. Really? A wildfire coming to your house isn't going to make you leave? Then fine. You will die with those preps. Your environment has suddenly changed. Maybe it's global warming, maybe it's global cooling, or somehow the earth was rocked on its axis. Suddenly your familiar climate is gone. And now you have to learn to keep your body at appropriate temperature and keep yourself fed in a totally different way. Yeah, pretty good scenario. Probably not the best. Let's do the next one. The power is gone permanently. Oh yeah, here we go. Your heat no longer comes from a thermostat dial. Your food can no longer be refrigerated in the convenient rectangle in your kitchen. And now even light to read requires a different outlook. Some people will spend precious time mourning what is gone instead of planning, and I'll say it again, instead of planning their course of action of what is left. I think this is the most plausible scenario out of all of them. Our grid is so fragile anyway. We have cyber attacks on it, an EMP, a CME, all these things could take it down for good, at least for years. How about that? Are you ready for that? Are you able to adapt? Because you know what? This is a very real possibility. And then from another website called Grey Wolf Survival. Hello, Grey Wolf. Adapt or die while you need more skills and less stuff. So I'll say it again. I'm not saying stockpiling stuff is bad. Of course you should stockpile stuff, but drill and training and adaptability is more important. And he nailed it. Preppers have a bad reputation for hoarding gear, stocking up on a year's worth or more of food, packing bug-out bags that could supply a platoon. In almost all cases, these preppers would be screwed if there were a true disaster or crap hits the fan. Having stuff is good, like, your preps. It's always a good thing to have lots of preps, but being adaptable, to be able to take care of actions, far better. It actually goes along the lines with what's the difference between what's called smart and intelligent. And people get these mixed up all the time. They think they're kind of the same thing. Like that person's really smart where they actually may be more intelligent and vice versa. The best way to understand it is like, let's take it to extremes. Somebody who's extremely smart way over here, we often label them as book smart. In other words, they have so much knowledge, they can memorize anything, but, put them on the street in an urban environment and they get completely lost, On this end, you have somebody who's incredibly intelligent. In this case, this is like where we call somebody a jack of all trades, master at none. They're so good at everything. They figure out stuff so quickly. They're highly intelligent. In other words, IQ score goes up way up there, but they can barely keep a job. It's really amazing how they really can't be productive in society. And this was, by the way, more on this side, Einstein, by the way. When he went through university, he wanted to be a university professor. His professors were like, no way. And he ended up being a patent clerk, and that's where he came up with theories, because he was all about thinking and figuring things out and not about memorizing and being book smart. Unfortunately, there's so many things that pushes us in the direction of being really smart and not so intelligent. I mean, even universities cater around now, can you regurgitate facts to me? Can you take information and just give it back to me again? This is like prepping with simply just stockpiling stuff. It will take you, but only take you so far. But when you get into intelligent, this is much harder. This is like critical thinking. And I know a lot of teachers in high school and professors in college who try to get students to do critical thinking, but it's incredibly difficult. In fact, with this, Einstein, being an intelligent one, had a quote about this. Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work. Because being that incredibly intelligent person, it's not simply just having thoughts of stuff. You really have to work at it. And that's where people make a mistake. It's adaptability. It's understanding things, figuring things out, and off you go. Unfortunately, this critical thinking we're seeing in America is heading out the door. I'm not saying we still don't have it. Again, there's some teachers out there who are really trying to push it in kids, but I find that's going to be few and far between. Now, this is amazing for the fact that America was known for its intuition. It was known for its creativeness, its drive, and pushing everything to its boundaries. I mean, the stuff we've done over the last 70 years has simply been incredible, and not anymore. Now we're famous for things like Netflix, or a generation of just social media, zombies watching social media. We give awards for simply precipitation, for participation now. And the workday, it should only be 2 hours. I don't want to work and drive anymore. And then an abbreviation for every ounce of the English language. Instead of actually talking and using language, now we have a 3-letter acronym for everything. LOL. It's that kind of thing. I mean, obviously when you text, your little thumbs make it faster. But a lot of the actual intuition and drive and all that stuff has completely been taken out of our society now. It's really sad. From G. Michael Hoff's book, Those Who Remain, it's a post-apocalyptic book, by the way, has a famous quote: hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Have you heard this before? There is so much truth to this. And unfortunately, because the way things have transpired between World War II and now, we have a lot of hard times coming because, especially now, the newest generation coming up, in my opinion, I'd like to see your opinion on this too, is one of the weakest we've seen yet. I'm obviously being very overgeneralistic about this because there's lots of people in this generation I've met who are hard workers, and even they'll say, oh my gosh, this generation I live in is awful. But the hard times that are coming are going to be, and this is going to be a big rude awakening for them, but also for you too, possibly. I want you to think about this. When we're talking about hard times coming, they're going to be incredibly demanding. Very difficult times coming. And we're not talking about simply not having enough food and such, although that'd be part of it too. And as preppers, because of what's coming, we have to be ever so adaptable to be ready for these situations. There is no more just being smart, follow this recipe, stockpile water and corned beef hash and stuff. No, we have to be in this direction, and we have to have critical thinking, think outside the box, and be ready with plan B, plan C, and that goes on and on. Because the times that are coming are going to be incredibly, incredibly difficult. Not even just difficult mentally, but physically too. We have to be physically fit and be ready for this as well. But even more so, emotionally challenging. And I think that's what we find when we find a weak generation coming up today. The emotional challenges coming up seems to be more than anything. I find they cave in with the slightest of problems coming their way. They cave. And I think all of us did that too at young time when we were very young, but our parents nurtured us and said, you know what? I know this is difficult, but keep working at it. You'll get it. And instead of that, now we see a generation, instead of saying work at it, we'll say, you know what? We'll cater to you and basically make it so everything's going to be even easier on you. Because of this incredibly easy generation that we have, this one who doesn't want to think, this very weak generation, we're going to be heading into exceedingly hard times. And with that, as preppers, we need to train, we need to drill, we need to prepare, because this whole situation is leading down a path that's going to be very dangerous and very challenging for all of us. It's not just stockpiling. It is drilling and training, being adaptable, being intelligent, train tactically, and do everything you can to physically do what you need to rather than simply just stockpiling food. We need to stockpile food, but we need to go through other stuff too. And that includes, obviously, different scenarios. So I'm going to challenge you with this. Please put in the comments below some different scenarios that we need to prepare for. I mean, some of the basic ones are an EMP, a complete grid down as far as lights go, a nuclear attack, World War III, economic depression. I talk about these on the channel all the time. What are some different scenarios we need to prepare for? And even more so, I'll make videos about these, and then we can brainstorm and try to think of ways to go past and get past these scenarios. Because you know what? As hard times come and things get more and more difficult, as preppers, even more so, we need to be ready. Thanks for watching.